It is the first week of November, which means it is the first week of Believathon, and welcome to the vlog. Welcome to the vlog. That's my dehumidifier beeping at me to be emptied. So I will be honest, filming and editing last week's vlog was a lot more challenging and time-consuming than I even anticipated that it would. And you know, I didn't want to just do it the one time and say, wow, that was too hard, I'm not gonna do that anymore, because I like the vlogs, and just filmed my November TBR and it took me forever to do it. So anyway, this is me sort of starting the vlog for this week, even though it is Wednesday. If you watched my last vlog, then you know that I am currently reading The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. This is my buddy read with my friend Taylor. We are about a third of the way through the book. I am still on page 108. Just about to start section 23 of this. The other exciting thing for this week, this is the first week of November, and I am actually participating this year in the Believathon readathon hosted by Gavin at How to Train Your Gavin. So there are a couple that I have kind of already started, and by already started I mean like I read the first few pages. This one I actually started a little bit last week because it was around Halloween time and I thought that this was a good Halloween one, but I haven't actually gotten that far into it. So in the first couple of pages, she is sitting in class trying to do school like a normal kid, except she is able to see dead people, including her best friend who is a ghost. And it's clear that nobody else in the room is able to see him except for her, which I think is just a fun like premise for a story. So it kind of reminds me of, oh, what's the show that I watched this summer? The Umbrella Academy. The Umbrella Academy. One of the kids in the family is able to, oh, what is his name? Oh no. He was also one of my favorite characters. Anyway, he's able to see dead people and like talk to dead people. And the other petty thing that I could talk about with this book is in the first few pages, Derek and Will are sleeping with their eyes open. Matt is working on his latest paper football. And I just have to rant a little bit about that because I remember when I was in college, I took one creative writing class and my story that I wrote was about a group of kids in high school and one of them was like flicking a paper football. And my creative writing teacher was like, that's not realistic. You should take that part out of the story. It was like, what kids play with play paper football anymore? Like that just doesn't seem like it would happen. And I'm like, really? Also, as an actual high school English teacher, kids are throwing and flicking things across the room all of the time. So it is 100% realistic that that would happen. What is not realistic is the fact that this story starts during the last week of school and their teacher is just now introducing the Vietnam War. That is unrealistic. The other book that I kind of started, again, I'm only like one chapter into this, is The Lightning Thief by, oh, sorry, my battery's about to die. The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. Riordan? Am I saying that right? Riordan? This is another one that my students talk about a lot. I teach English, and so I like asking students, hey, like what books have you read that you actually enjoyed? And this is one that a lot of kids say. So this one follows the story of Percy Jackson, who is a 12-year-old boy, and he has some troubles with staying in school and doing what he's supposed to do, and he gets in trouble a lot, and he gets kicked out of schools and has to go to new ones. ones, and I'm assuming that a lot of that is going to come down to the fact that he is actually the son of Poseidon and is therefore a demigod and therefore has like powers. I have some other thoughts on this, but my phone is about to die, so I will save them and talk about them more with you the next time that I check in. So I will talk to you guys later. Good morning. It is Friday and I am not at school today. Sorry if you can hear the dryer in the background. I am trying to finish up some laundry because I am actually going out of town this weekend, which is why I am not at work today. So I am needing to finish up some laundry and get some things packed and take a shower and leave. But before I do that, I thought that I would take a moment and check in with you guys and give you a little update on my reading. So I started Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. I read this a little bit at school yesterday and I'm not very far into it. I'm only on page 62, which is chapter 5. I don't really have a lot to say about this one right now. It's just okay. It's written in first person and Percy is 12 years old and I feel like I can tell. And I'm not the biggest fan. Like, it does feel a little cheesy. It's not terrible. It's just not one that I am super intrigued by at this moment where I'm at in the book. He does not know yet that he is the son of Poseidon, but he knows that his dad has never been in his life and that he went out to sea once before he was born and never came back. He was lost at sea, and there's like a very specific line where he's like, my mom says my dad was lost at sea. Not that he died, but that he was lost at sea, which I think is our clue. The idea that Poseidon is still out there somewhere and perhaps Percy is actually going to meet him someday. Anyway, it's fine. I don't love the point of view. I don't love the descriptions. It feels pretty cheesy. I know it's middle grade, so I will continue with this one and hopefully have it done by the end of this week, maybe. I have not read any more of this, but I might actually listen to the audiobook version of this to help me get through because I'm going to be in the car for a while, so I might listen to the audiobook version. Speaking of audiobooks, I am for sure going to be listening to this one on audiobook while I am in the car today because it is part of my Believathon TBR, and the prompt that this one is going to fulfill is to read an audiobook. And like I explained in my TBR video, the reason why I chose this one for that particular prompt is because it is a verse novel, and so it is written in poetry. And I think that that's going to be a good one to listen to aloud. So that is it for now. I will check in with you guys later. It is Sunday and I am here with a little reading update. It is exciting. Week 1 of Believathon is done and I did in fact read a whole book. The book that I finished is Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga. This book I put on my Believathon TBR to fulfill 2 prompts. One, it is a book written by an author with a different culture from mine, and 2, I listened to this book mostly on audiobook. Hello, it is me, somewhat in the same spot, but in different clothes because today is a different day. And yet, I am still here to talk to you about Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga. I am refilming this because I was not pleased with how I attempted to articulate my thoughts about this book before. So here we are. So the other times that I talked about this book in my past videos, I refer to the main character as Jude because her name is spelled Jude. However, I did listen to this book almost entirely on audiobook, and from the audiobook, I learned that her name is not pronounced Jude. It is actually pronounced Jude. Jude is a Syrian girl who has to leave her home in Syria and come to the United States to live with relatives in Cincinnati. With the war happening in Syria, things are getting worse, and Jude and her mother leave Syria while her father and her older brother stay behind. This is obviously an immigrant story, but it is told from the perspective of a 7th grader, and as a middle grade book, it's obviously intended for a middle grade audience. And so I think in a lot of ways it tackles a lot of issues and challenges that go along with immigrating to the United States, but I think it does it in a very accessible way. Jude is having to deal with family relationships, she's having to deal with her own identity and sort of learning how to define herself. She is dealing with all kinds of prejudice and people misjudging her because of the hijab that she wears. I definitely think that this is a very valuable read. I think that it is very accessible. It was beautifully written. It was also written in verse, which I really liked. And I enjoyed listening to the book in verse on audiobook. I thought that the audiobook version was done very well, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I like this one, and I'm glad that this was my first full read of Believathon. I think that this was a good one to sort of start out with for this month. All right, and that is it from me for now. Back to past me with the rest of this vlog. Hi guys, it is Sunday and week 2 of Believathon. I'm going to start dinner here in a little bit, but I did actually get some additional reading done today, so I thought that I would do a quick check-in just because I don't know how the rest of this evening is going to go, but let me tell you a little bit about what I think I might read this week. I did not make a lot of progress in this book. I'm still exactly where I was during my last check-in when I talked about this one last week, page 62, which is in the middle of a chapter. That's how much I'm liking this. I'm wondering if I need to find an audiobook version of this and just sort of listen to it in bits and pieces as I can. But the other one that I am very excited to read for this week is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. I am a couple chapters in already, and I really like it. I think I'm going to try and continue to read this one this evening. But this, I think, is the one that I'm going to try and stick to and read physically throughout this week, at least. So together, here's my goal, all right? My goal is to have read both of these by the end of this week, because I do have several other books that I need to get to this month, and I kind of need to keep myself on track. So the goal here is to read both of these. Listen to this one on an audiobook for the most part, probably, and read this one physically when I can. This one's a lot shorter. Actually, they're both pretty short because this one's, yeah, they're both short. They're both middle grade. I'll probably get through them fairly easily, although last week I only got through one middle grade and it was because I listened to it on audiobook. So G from Book Roast. If you haven't figured it out already, I am pretty much obsessed with her. I love her channel. I love the videos that she creates. I'm part of her Patreon now, and because I am part of her Patreon now, I got a little shout out from her in her last video, which I honestly forgot about. Like, it's listed as one of the things that she says she'll do if you like join her Patreon, and I forgot about it until I started watching her most recent video.
Speaking of Patreons, I really want to extend the warmest of welcomes to Erica and Zoe, who are the newest members of G's Army here on my Patreon.
That was really exciting, especially since I totally forgot that that was something that was going to happen. And I'll link that video down below and her channel down below because she is amazing. And if you're not subscribed to her channel already, you absolutely should be. But anyway. All right, I am going to cook some dinner and probably edit a little bit and read a little bit, and I will check in with you guys later. Okay, I literally just like downloaded the audiobook version of Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, and according to the little intro that the guy gave, the author's name is Rick Riordan. I was so sure that I was pronouncing it incorrectly, and I absolutely was. So, Rick Riordan. Tuesday, and I actually just got home from school a little bit ago and thought that I would check in a little bit because last night I did do some reading and I did watch a lot of Booktube, which of course is something that I've been doing a lot of recently, but I was watching Book Roast's most recent vlog where she reorganizes her shelves, which I will link that video down below so you can watch it. But the reason I'm talking about it here is because in that video she talks about how she is doing kind of a fuller TBR than she normally does as a result of her new like Avatar TBR game that she has. And in order to, oh hello, Lily's coming to say hi. Hello. Hi. Say hi. Can you say hi? Okay. Anyway, I was watching Book Roast's vlog. She was talking about her TBR for this month and how in order to make sure that she doesn't receive a punishment in her TBR game, she wants to make sure that she finishes obviously all of the books on her TBR. And in order to do that, she like figured out how many pages she needs to read each day in order to be able to actually get all of her books read by the end of the month. And I thought that was interesting, and I started thinking like, like I wonder how many pages do I actually have to read between now and the end of the month to finish what I have on my TBR, because I do have quite an extensive TBR for me this month. I am reading 8 books this month, and as of this moment, I have finished one of them, and we are already in the second week of November. So I did the math. I tallied all of the pages that I have left to read and then divided that by the number of days that are left in this month. And it came out to about 90 pages a day that I have to read in order to keep myself on track and finish all of my other books before the end of November. So I did exactly what Book Roast did, and I put these little tabbies in my books to show how many sections of each book I have to read in a day in order to make sure that I get everything read on time. I am realizing more and more that I am someone who likes to jump between multiple books depending on what mood I'm in. And so I'm in the middle of several books right now. I have been working through The Woman in the Window, which is my buddy read with my friend Taylor. The Lightning Thief, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief is one that I am still working on, and I'm actually listening to this one mostly on audiobook. And then the other one that I'm currently reading is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab, and I've got just a couple of tabs actually in this one since it is so short. So this is the one that I think I'm going to sit down and read more of tonight. In addition to this book is anti-racist, which I did not put tabbies in this one because I don't want this to be one that I just like sit and read straight through. Like I don't want to read, especially since it is so short. Like you could sit down and read it in one sitting, but I want to make sure that I'm kind of taking my time with this one a little bit and doing some of the reflections that go along with it and some of the activities that are included in here. So these are the 4 that I'm like actively in right now that I have at least started and am making some progress in so far. These 3 are 3 that I have not started yet at all. And they are 3 that I'm excited for. I just haven't read them yet. So these might wait until the second half of the month. We'll see. We'll see how things are broken up. It's weird because this one I'm trying to do daily. This one I'm listening to on audiobook. This one I'm doing a buddy read. So those are just kind of happening as they happen. This one I am really hoping to have done at least by the end of this week. It's short. I'll take the next couple of days to get this one read. Anyway, I don't know how much of that was interesting or if you care at all about me calculating the number of pages that I need to read in order to finish my books, but these are all the ones that I have left. I think I'm going to change. I'm going to have some dinner. I'm going to sit back and relax a little bit, and then I'm going to do some reading tonight. That is my plan. I'm going to do some reading tonight. I'm going to go to bed early. I'm going to get up because I have some grading I need to do in the morning, and we'll just take it from there. And I will check in with you guys when I have some things read. What is up? It is about 1 o'clock in the morning. I did that thing where I tried to go to bed early, and then I woke up in the middle of the night, and now I can't fall back asleep. So I am doing some reading and having a little snack. Happy Wednesday morning. This is random. I was talking to, sorry, I'm making coffee, so you can probably hear it in the background, but I was talking to a friend just now about a couple of my YouTube videos, and I went back and was looking at one of them. It was my October book haul video, and realized that I talked about a book that I have never read. I was talking about Scythe, and my friend was like, oh, that Scythe book sounds really good. And so I went back and was looking at that part of the video and realized that I had mentioned that I had read two of his books already a long time ago, back when I was in like middle school. I read Everlost. Here's Lily. I read Everlost and I read Unwind. And I have read Everlost, I know that for a fact, but I have not read Unwind. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking of a completely different book and thought that that was the one that I had read, and it's not. And I realized that because I was watching the video. I was like, Unwind by Neil Shusterman. Like, I feel like I heard somebody on BookTube talking about that recently, and I was watching Paperback Dreams, and she was talking about it, and she was talking about how much she did not like it, and so I was like, that's not a book that I've read. I know that that's not a book that I've read. And so I looked up the synopsis, and it is in fact a book that I have not ever read. And in my very first YouTube video, I talked about how I read it back in middle school and how it was a really good book. At least my middle school brain thought it was a good book, except I was not thinking of the book that I actually read with that middle school brain. It was a completely different book. Maybe it was called like Rewind or something. It had to do with like a video camera is the one that I'm thinking of. And this one's called Unwind, and it is not about that. It is about something completely different, and I have not read it. Doesn't mean I won't ever read it, but I do feel like kind of an idiot for recommending a book in my very first BookTube video that I have not actually read. Okay. Friday. I have made it to the end of this week. Thank goodness. I didn't vlog very much this week at all, but I did get together with my friend Taylor. She and I are buddy reading The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn, and we got together to chat about where we are in the book, and it's getting really good so far. Again, we still have a lot of theories about what is going to happen, and there's still a lot of book left, so a lot could happen before we get to the end. I think I got like one really random clip of the sushi that we ordered.
This is really good.
I got it at, and that was it. That's all I think I've gotten, all I got that day. Anyway, it is Friday night, and I wanted to share that I have actually finished reading another book. I just finished The City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. I liked it. I liked this book. It was honestly, it's a middle grade, so it can't be too scary, and it was honestly like a good amount of scary for me. I am not big on horror at all. I don't like scary movies. I don't like scary stories. I do and I don't. I don't think I'm ever going to be one to really get into the horror genre at all. So this like middle grade ghost story is like perfect for me. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. This book also covers two of my Believathon prompts, which were to read a book with a supernatural element and to read a book featuring ghosts. Obviously, this one very much fulfills both of those prompts. It is a middle grade ghost story about a girl named Cass who actually like experiences a near death experience, or does she actually die? Regardless, it leaves her with this power to be able to access the veil, or in other words, to be able to sort of cross over and have communication with people who have died, who are now existing as ghosts. In fact, her best friend, Jacob, is also a ghost, and that becomes interesting throughout this as well. But basically, her parents are these authors who write like historical ghost story type books, and they get a TV show deal to go around and do sort of like a ghost hunter kind of TV show. And the first episode is taking place in Edinburgh, Scotland, and so the book starts out in New York, which is where Cass and her parents live, but most of the story actually takes place in Scotland, and so I thought that that was really fun too, kind of getting to see the different places in Edinburgh, which I would love to visit someday, by the way. Because it takes place in Edinburgh, it has a lot of references to Harry Potter. Okay, yeah, it's called the Elephant House. So the Elephant House in Edinburgh is the birthplace of Harry Potter, and so they visit there. Overall, I liked it. I would recommend it. I think it's interesting that this is actually my first exposure to Victoria Schwab. I am very interested in reading more of her books. I'm definitely assuming that her other books have probably a different vibe because this is middle grade and her other fantasy novels are adults. So that is it from me for now. Hi guys, it is Saturday and I thought that I would go ahead and wrap up this vlog because it's getting a little long, so I am here to end this video, but I thought before I do that I would give you one last little sort of wrap up or update on what it is that I have been reading. So do you want the good news or the bad news first? Let's start with the bad news. I am not enjoying this book. I know that it's been a favorite for a lot of people, but I am just not enjoying it. I have tried reading it physically. I have tried listening to it on audiobook. I am just not getting into it at all. This is one that I'm definitely going to be pushing to the bottom of my TBR pile for this month, and if I don't get to it, I don't get to it. I might actually just DNF this one. It's just, I don't know that it's aged very well, in my opinion. It might have been cool back when it was published. Had I read it when I was younger, I might have been more interested. I thought that with the mythology, I would like it, but I just don't like how it's being done. Yeah, I'm not digging it. So this one I'm gonna say goodbye to for now, and if it makes another appearance at some later point, then great, and if not. As far as the Believathon goes, I have finished 2 books that have helped to fulfill 4 of the prompts for the readathon. The first one I finished was Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga, and the second book I finished was City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. I did enjoy both of these. They, I think, are good examples of sort of like higher level middle grade. I think that I think that both of them have a level of sophistication as middle grade books that really helped me to maybe like them more than I would other middle grades. I'm not exactly sure how to like compare middle grade to adult or even young adult novels as far as how I feel about them. I mean, yes, they're well done. They're well written. I did have fun with them. I did enjoy them. Will I read them again? It's possible that I would pick them up again down the road. This one also has a sequel, which I'm semi-interested in reading. There was a moment at the end of this where I was like, I wonder what's going to happen with that, and so I would be curious to see if it gets addressed in the way that I think it will in the sequel, but I don't know. I also have 2 books that I am currently reading. One of them is This Book is Anti-Racist by Tiffany Jewell and illustrated by Aurelia Durand, and this one I'm kind of trying to read more daily in like little bits and pieces since it's sort of organized in like lessons. So I'm kind of taking my time with this one, but I'm really enjoying it so far. And then the other one that I'm still reading is The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn, which is my buddy read with my friend Taylor, and we're actually going to be talking about it tonight, and I am super excited because some interesting things have happened. I'm currently on page 246, which is the start of chapter 60. So we are about halfway through at this point, about halfway through. So I'm really enjoying this one, and I'm enjoying getting to talk about it with Taylor. And that is it for this vlog. Thank you so much for joining me for the first half of November and for the first couple weeks of Believathon. I still have several books left on my TBR, and I am excited to read those, so maybe check in on my next video to hear my thoughts on some of those. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.